So
Yeah.
let's get it in, man.
All right. So look. Let's go right in. Right. So,
Yeah.
this was definitely a journey. This was definitely a journey. This was definitely. You've written books before. You decided to hire a coach. You said this was going to be different. It has been different. But before we even get into the book, man, how do you feel? Like now that it's done, it's ready, it's out. You shipping it out to the people. How you feeling,
Oh
man?
my goodness. Yeah. So for me, it was crazy because this was the hardest I've never given birth. And shout out to all the ladies that are in the room. I've never given birth, but yo, this was like giving birth, yo, because I've written shorter books, 8-cylinder success, guaranteed goals, things of that nature. This is my 7th book, but when I poured out everything that had come out of Financial Church over the 6 months of teaching it, and I put it into that Google document that you saw, that Google document was 400 pages. It was 400 pages. And if you put that into book form, if you put that 400 pages into book form, that would have been 800 pages. Yeah. That would have been 800 pages. So to edit 800 pages was a beast. Yeah, it was a beast. And fortunately, we got it down to 400, a little over 400 pages. But to edit 800 pages was a beast. But I've been through the book 5 times now because I wanted to make sure that this work was done right. Of course, your wife was so important and integral to helping me edit this and really make sure that the message was refined and as simple as possible so that the people could actually get it.
Yeah. And fat shout to the first lady.
Yes.
Because I mean, for years she's been my best kept secret. I'll be honest, right? And so now it's time to share her with the world. But here, more importantly, right? Why did you write this book?
Yeah. So for me, I wrote this book because I saw a gap in financial literacy. Everybody, our community right now, this Black folk in particular, we are getting heavy on financial literacy. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. I believe that, Black folks, if it wasn't for racism, we'd be the wealthiest people on the face of this earth. And the reality is that we actually are the wealthiest people on the face of this earth, not to compare ourselves to anybody, but we are just now stepping into it. Financial literacy is powerful, right? But it only teaches you what to do and how to do it. What I realized was missing from the entire conversation is who you need to become. Who you need to become. So it was about making an identity shift, because if you just rely on financial literacy, these books have been out here for a long time. Rich Dad Poor Dad inspired me. 40 million copies sold, right? Yeah. But not 40 million millionaires. 40 million copies sold, but it didn't create 40 million millionaires, because perhaps maybe 10 million read it and perhaps 1 million actually implemented it. Right. So I knew that there was a gap. So what I focused on was actually financial spirituality, and financial spirituality is not focused on what you need to do and how to do it, but who you need to become to accept that abundance is your birthright. So when you change your identity, right, your external experience has to start to match your identity. You do not get what you want in life. You get who you are. And that's the piece that's missing, because if I give a whole bunch of wealth strategies to somebody who has a poverty consciousness, the wealth strategies will not take root. I can teach you stock options. I can teach you the stock market. I can teach you entrepreneurship. I can teach you trucking. I can teach you all these different business models out here. But if you have a poverty consciousness, those strategies will never take root. So I want to make sure that the soil of the mind, right, is actually right, so that when we now add on these wealth strategies, that they actually take root and they multiply.
I love that. And I want to, dig a little deeper into the becoming, right? Because, it's specifically in our community, we get to a space where we're constantly doing, right? And it's ingrained. We got to do. And so just for clarity, right? And we're talking about Rich and Righteous. Make sure y'all go to moneyandmanifestation.com, Rich and Righteous. So just for clarity, you're saying that if you have 2 people who are doing the same exact thing, one has a positive or one has a poverty mindset and one has a wealth consciousness, the person with the wealth consciousness will manifest in their life if they're doing the same thing. Talk to me.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Scripture, you know, I reference the Bible heavily throughout the book. It is a core. I believe that there's a whole bunch of wealth principles in there, and I've been able to extract those wealth principles out. And one of the scriptures in there is, "It is done unto you as you believe." It is done unto you as you believe. So if you believe that money is hard to come by, if you believe in scarcity, if you believe that the economy is going down, if you believe it's going to be hard to get another job, if you believe that if you believe in this mindset of scarcity, then you're going to have a different experience despite doing the same thing as someone who believes that there's tons of job opportunities out there. If I can't find one, I'll create one. That there's money floating all around me at every given moment, right? That's an abundance mindset. Like, real quick, I just need everybody out there to look around the room that they're in right now and count how many ways people got paid off of everything that is in the room that you are in right now. Just look around you. I see a door right here. I see locks. I see light switches. I see electricity behind the wall. I see my camera setup. I see pens. I see paper. I see a closet. I see a file cabinet. I see books. I see a desk. I see floors. I see a foundation. I see a roof. I see ceilings. I see curtains. I see windows. I see a dry erase board. I see a bike. I see computers. Like, just in the room that you're in right now, people have made, there are $1 million companies behind everything that you see. So if you know that, then how could you ever be in scarcity consciousness when there's abundance around you at every given moment? If you just have the eyes to be able to see it. If you have the eye to be able to see it. So somebody who believes like, oh man, yeah, COVID is real bad right now and it's taking people out and people are losing their jobs, etc. They're, despite the same education, same upbringing, all that, they will have two different experiences of life because one person sees possibility and one person sees impossibility.
I love that. I love that. And so, you know, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the Bible, Rich and Righteous, Richest Man in Babylon. Like, there's a lot of books out there. What makes yours different?
Yeah, so I love all those books. All those books have been integral to the development of my mindset. But you know, my book has a very spiritual lens to it, and again, I don't see money as this green piece of paper. For me, money is stored energy. Money is simply stored energy. Okay, and it is not good and it is not evil. Right? It is an inert spiritual substance. So I want you to start to look at money from an energetic standpoint as opposed to just a financial standpoint. It is called currency. Why? Because it's supposed to have a current. It is supposed to flow. And so when you see money as stored energy, it actually changes the way you think about money and how you use money because it is supposed to flow. We've been taught to hoard money, to save money. And the name of the game is not to accumulate wealth. The name of the game is to circulate wealth. Okay. So material wealth is when the person who accumulates the most wealth before they die. Spiritual wealth is a person who circulates the most money or good energy while they are alive. Those are two different ways of measuring wealth. I choose to lean towards the spiritual side and spiritual definition of wealth, which is choosing to circulate as much good energy, stored energy, as I possibly can while I am alive. Anybody, please, in chat, let us know how much money did Steve Jobs have when he died? Anybody, let us know. Anybody know how much money Steve Jobs had when he died? I don't see not one answer.
Zero.
The one person put zero, none.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And guess what? Nobody will care how much money you've accumulated by the time you die.
Right.
What you will be remembered for in terms of your legacy is how much good energy you circulated while you were alive. That is the wealth that cannot be stolen, cannot rust, that you cannot lose. It just accumulates in your memory bank and God's memory bank. And that is the wealth that I seek to create. And I just use this stored money, this stored energy called money, as a way to circulate more and more good and do more and more God in this world.
And so would you say that your book is sort of like one of the first books that puts that in like clearly? Because you know that you know, like I'm very well read, And I know for me, one of the things that got me excited about this book was the fact that, you know, there's usually like this tiptoe around spirituality and money as if they're mutually exclusive, you know?
Yeah. It's 100% time for the rich and righteous. That's why the title is even that, because a lot of people think that you can't be rich and righteous. It's either or, right? And the easiest way to keep people poor is to make them think that money is evil. The easiest way to keep people poor is to make them think that money is evil. Because when they think that money is evil, then they think that being broke is good.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman should not have been broke when she died. Martin Luther King should not have been broke when he transitioned. Malcolm X should not have been broke. Mother Teresa should not have been broke. Gandhi should not have been broke. I believe that if all those people had more stored energy, which is money, they would have been able to do more good and more God in this world. But we've gotten attracted to the sacrificial leader. The problem, and many of us are actually sacrificial leaders too, because everybody here is probably by default a giver. Everybody here is by default a giver. And that actually is a sign that you are a child of God, or that you are aware that you're a child of God. But here's the problem with being a giver or an overgiver, is that in order to give at your greatest level, you have to learn how to receive.
Big bar.
You cannot break the cycle or the law of giving and receiving. If you want to do more good in this world, you have to become a better receiver. And receiving is a skill set that must be developed. It must be developed. The more I receive, the more I can give. But anytime that I give more than I receive, then I break that law, and it catches up to me in another way, through burnout, frustration, resentment, health issues, etc. Because energy always has to balance out. Electrons and protons, they have to balance out. And so while you may think it's noble and it's sacrificial and it's good to give in the way that you give and portray yourself as this sacrificial giver, I'm always showing up for other people, I'll do what I got to do, whatever it takes, it actually robs not only you of your own health and well-being, but then once you are no longer in a position to give, then guess what? Now you're robbing all the people who you were giving to,
right,
from your gift, because you out the game now, because you didn't have balance. It has to be a reciprocal relationship. And so it's really important for us as children of God not to violate that law, and make sure that our giving is proportional to our receiving. It has to be proportional.
And even in the book, you say that being poor is a sin, but poverty is not. Talk to me about that, please. Talk to me about that, please.
Hey, so remember, Ash Cash and his wife are the only two people to see the book in its finished form.
I'm giving too much. I'm my fault. I'm giving too much.
Yo, so I have to say it. It is that being poor is sin. And sin in archery means to miss the mark. So I don't mean that you're banished to hell or anything like that. That's not what I mean by sin. All I mean is that we are missing the mark. Because how could a child of God ever be poor? God is the infinite source of supply, the creator of all that we see and experience. And if you are a child, a direct child and offspring of that source, how could you be poor? And so my daughter is here. She's 6 years old. And I have to ask the question, if I'm a millionaire, is my daughter a millionaire? Yes, absolutely. She is guaranteed to be a millionaire because everything that her father has is hers. The only reason she doesn't have it yet is because she's not aware of it, or she hasn't demonstrated the responsibility to be able to take care of it, or she doesn't need it yet. And the same is true for us as children of God, is that the only reason we don't have the abundance and the wealth that we desire is because we aren't aware of what our mother, father, God has. We haven't demonstrated responsibility enough to actually receive it, and we actually don't need it. We actually don't need it. So being poor, anytime you say I am, that is what God calls itself in Genesis. I am that I am. So anytime whatever you put after I am, that is what you become. And so if you say I am poor, you are accepting an identity. Poverty, on the other hand, is simply an external condition, and external conditions can be changed just like the weather. But when you accept that I am poor, that is an internal identity. And an internal identity is harder to change than an external condition. And And so anytime you put anything negative after the words I am, you are using the Lord's name in vain. I am sad, I'm using the words Lord's name in vain. Anytime you put anything negative after I am, and you are accepting that as an identity, you are using the Lord's name in vain. And so that's the distinction between I am poor and I am in poverty. And what tends to happen, especially for people of color in this country, actually, it's not just people of color, that's what it's been positioned as, but 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Facts.
So if 14% of this country is Black, then guess what? That means a lot of white folks are living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely.
But it's been positioned in our narrative that white folks are doing good and everybody else is doing bad. It's not true. Okay, it's not true. And so what tends to happen though for people of our hue, when you are born into poverty, you look around you in your external environment, you say, dang, there's a lot of poverty around me. Therefore, I am poor.
Right.
But your external environment does not determine your internal identity.
Man.
And the reason I believe that many of us, that was not my story. I don't have a rags to riches story. I was born middle class, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But the reason I believe that some of us chose to come into this earthly realm in that way is to demonstrate how wealthy we actually are.
Oh, heavy talk.
If you were born into the Hilton family, like Paris Hilton, you were born into wealth, how could you prove to yourself or anyone else that you were wealthy if you were already born into wealth? But if you were born into poverty and you know, despite the external condition, that I am a child of God and abundance is my birthright, then your experience here on earth is an opportunity to demonstrate that your internal identity is actually true.
Oh, big bar. Yeah.
And so that's how I perceive the experience, particularly of people of African descent in this country, is that we are actually here to prove how wealthy we really are. You can take away my land, you can take me away from my country, you can take my family, you can take my language, you can take my religion or my spirituality and my connection to God, you can take my body, you can take my speech, you can take it all. Guess what? And watch me still win, because I know who I am.
Go off. Yeah. Woo! Man, Richard Righteous, make sure y'all go to moneyandmanifestation.com. Go get that if you haven't got it. You know what I'm saying? If you got it already, get it again. By my city twice. And say, look, yo, he nice. And so, you know, you mentioned 7 books.
Yeah.
What was different about this process?
So first and foremost, what was different about this process was you and your wife holding me accountable. I knew I was meant to give birth to something, and I needed a midwife. I needed a doula to bring it out of me, to hold me accountable. And you know, late last year, I promised the people that it would be done by March 31st. I promised the people, and that's what I've done with all my books. I literally declare, and this is how I manifest. I declare a date in advance, and I tell other people. You know, a lot of people say, oh, just hold on and keep it. I don't reveal it until it's done, etc. The way I've been able to manifest what I've been able to manifest in my life is that I actually get other people involved in my manifestation. I had all of you who pre-ordered the book believing for me that this book would come forth. So I was able to harness all of that energy of you all waiting for me to deliver this to you to make sure that it came out. So you and your wife serves as a midwife and doula to help guide me through that process. You help me refine and cut away the fat. You held me accountable. You and I met every single week. You handled the things that I didn't need to be focused on, like the book cover design, right? And people are saying the book cover design is fire, right? So you took all the things that I didn't have to do, that I shouldn't have been focused on, off my plate, so that I could focus on getting what was up here in the heaven in my mind out into on earth in our material experience. And so I could wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and just focus on writing and not have to worry about anything else. And that's what allowed me to, I think, get out this beast of a book and go through it 5 times, is because all of the minutia that comes with publishing a book was off my plate, and you and your family and your business took care of that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it you know, it was such an honor though when you reached out for us to kind of work together, because you know, I told you behind the scenes and in public that I was already a fan. Like I was already, you know, a fan of Julian Gordon, because I've already seen what you were doing, you know, behind the scenes, in the scenes, everything, right? And so when you reached out, it was an honor. But something you said, you were like, yo, listen, like, I'm gonna be your biggest client. Like, so talk about declaration. You was like, I'm gonna be your biggest client.
Yeah.
When you said that, it wasn't about the money though, right?
No.
You know, like the money came, even pre-sales, but it wasn't about the money. You said, I'm gonna be your biggest client because I'm going to impact a lot of people.
Yeah.
With this book. And so why is that the barometer for you as far as putting this book out? Why was impact the most important thing that you wanted to kind of, you know, get out with this book?
Yeah. So we are in an industry, especially this information-based industry, and there are a lot of scammers out there. There are just a lot of scammers out there who are pumping information to personal development junkies, and they keep giving it to them and giving it to them, and they actually keep them on the nipple so that they never get off. They never get into their power. And for me, the transformation is actually when the person is able to move in their own power and stand in that. And so for me, it's all about impact. And I know that when the impact is there, the income follows. It's just a natural course of events. So I focus not only on, so I used to, coming out of business school, I went to one of the best business schools in the world. And, you know, it's all about money, 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 money. I found, and I share this in the book, that there's two aspects to creating something sustainable that is in alignment with your creator. And that is coming up with your blessing model and then your business model. I was always focused on how can I get that. Early on, I was focused on how can I get that bag? How can I make that money? How can I milk $1 million company, et cetera? But when I focused on my blessing model, which is how I give my gift to the world, and then pair that with a business model, which is how I receive so that I can continue to give, it changed everything for me. When I focused on being the greatest blessing that I could be first, it flipped everything for me. And so that's what it was for me. And a couple of things about this book. I don't care about reaching bestseller status. Do I believe that we will reach bestseller status? Yes, I believe that, but that is not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on how many people have actually read and implemented the book. I do that with the multifamily movement. I don't care how many students I have in the multifamily movement. The only thing that matters to me is how many students close. That is the only metric that I need to share, because that's the only metric that really matters. And so when we are measuring success, when we are measuring our impact in this world, it's really important to get clear on what that metric is for you and make sure that it's accurate. Otherwise, you start chasing vanity metrics that actually don't mean anything in terms of your legacy and in the spiritual realm. And so that's part of the reason why in the pre-order special, giving people 5 books, you're getting 5 books. Because for me, this is not about just selling one book to one person. It is about creating transformation in the lives of many. And so we already know, just based on the pre-orders, that we can multiply that number by 5. Right. And that's how many people are going to be touched. Right. But we want to get beyond just how many lives. I used to measure my success by how many lives I was touching. Now I measure my success by how many lives I've transformed. And those are 2 different things. Absolutely. And guess what? It's harder to transform somebody's life than to just touch their lives. But I'm willing to put in the extra effort in the work to make sure that a life is transformed as opposed to just touched.
I love that. I love that. And so in the book, you talk a lot about wealth consciousness, right? Like even though like your wordplay is crazy, right? So behind the scenes, we call each other JG and Dame Ash, right? And your wordplay is crazy, because even like the table of contents is the table of conscience, like
it's the table of consciousness,
right? It's the table of consciousness, right? And so you know, throughout the book, you talk about wealth consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And so what is wealth consciousness?
Yeah. So wealth consciousness is, you know what? It's actually better to show people. It's better to show than to tell. So let me explain wealth consciousness to you all in this way. I need everybody here, and this is beautiful because we have over 400 people here right now. I need everybody to take 3 deep breaths with me right now. We're going to inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 1, and release for 5. Okay, so just trust me on this. Okay, you don't have to close your eyes or anything like that. If you don't feel comfortable, just do this exercise with me. All right, ready? We're going to inhale for 4. Hold for 1, release. Inhale for 4. Hold, release. Inhale for 4. Hold for 1, release. Whoops. You all just experienced wealth consciousness. Let me explain. When you woke up this morning, none of you worried about if there was going to be enough oxygen for you. Even if you looked out the window and saw somebody running miles in preparation for a marathon and they were using up a lot of oxygen, you did not worry if there was going to be enough oxygen for you this morning. You trusted that your mother, father, God was going to supply you with enough oxygen on demand when you needed it. Wealth consciousness is when you can relate to money in the same way that you relate to air. You trust that your mother, father, God is going to provide you with the economic resource that you need on demand exactly when you need it. Therefore, you never, ever worry about money. In fact, you don't even think about money that much. Most Americans, they worry about money every single day, despite how much money is in their bank account. Millionaires, multimillionaires, still worrying about money. I need to give you an allegory from the Bible, okay? Because I told you I dissected the Bible and I've been given the eyes, this eye, the third eye, to be able to see things that many people can't see. But I'm revealing now. So you all remember the story about Jesus, remember the story about Jesus going in the temple and overturning tables? You remember that story, Ash?
No.
You don't know it. Okay. But anyways, there's this story where he goes in the temple and he overturns the tables of the money changers. Okay. He goes and overturns the tables of the money changers. And he says, you have made my father's house is supposed to be a house of prayer. That is an allegory. Actually, before I get into it, everybody point to your temple right now. Everybody point to your temple right now. It is right here. That story is an allegory. That our thoughts in our temple are not meant to be focused on money.
There we go.
In fact, 1/3 of Jesus's parables and about 40% of his ministry was focused on money because he knew how pervasive this stored energy could be in our lives. And he wanted to establish the right relationship with it. My father's house is supposed to be a house of prayer. That means that the temple, your mind, is supposed to keep its thoughts focused on God, which is the highest form of thinking. But we live in a society right now where we've allowed this green piece of paper to cause us to worry and to dictate our daily decisions. And this is why you cannot serve God and money.
Wow.
I do not serve the almighty dollar. I don't even call it the almighty dollar. I serve an almighty God. I know what my priorities are. And I know, based on scripture, that when I seek ye first the kingdom of God, which means walk in my purpose every single day, all these things shall be added unto me. And I trust in that. I quit my job at the bottom of the last recession, January 9th, 2009. So I know what it's like to be in the midst of scarcity. And so when I saw COVID hit, I knew that people were going to slip into this scarcity mindset. And I knew I had overcome that. I had survived that. And I didn't just survive, I thrived in the midst of all of that. And so I wanted to make sure that in the midst of COVID, people would be able to thrive. Right. And so that's why I wrote this book at this particular time is because I had already overcome that. And I knew it was my mindset that caused me to be able to thrive despite external conditions. Same thing, stock market dropping, unemployment rate on the rise, all that stuff was happening at that time. I only had $18,000 to my name that I had saved up. And my cost of living in Brooklyn, New York at the time was about $3,000 a month. And so I had a 6-month runway. I had a 6-month runway to make this thing happen. And here I am 12 years later and experiencing more abundance in my life that I could have ever imagined. There's no job that I know of that could pay me or channel the economic resource that is channeling to me and through me today. But that's because I walked in my purpose, because I knew I was in alignment. Why would your mother, father, God create you for a purpose and then not give you everything you need to succeed at that purpose? Just explain that. Oh, I'm gonna create you with this unique purpose, and then I'm gonna put all these obstacles in your way to make sure that you can't achieve that purpose. No, it is a faith walk to know that if I was created with a purpose, then whoever or whatever created me must and will supply me with everything that I need to actually achieve that purpose. And so that was my faith walk. And when you take faith walk, when you take baby steps like that, your faith only gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Your belief in not only yourself, but your creator gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And you are able to navigate this world despite external circumstances, despite what anybody else is experiencing. You can move in faith, knowing that all your needs will be met.
Man, that's a bar right there. And I got to take that in because, you know, I'm still stuck on wealth consciousness being like air, right? Because like you said, right, there's over right now, there's close to 500 people, right?
Yeah.
Who all at the same time, when you said take a deep breath, took a deep breath, but not one person worried if there was enough air.
Not one person.
Not one person said, wait, you go first, let me go. Nobody said, wait. Nope. When you said take a deep breath, in fact, we did it 4 times. It felt great, but nobody worried about that breath. And you're saying that wealth consciousness is treating your money like you treat air.
Yeah, if I'm an heir to the throne of God, as a God, I am a God.
Yo, wait. If I'm an heir, then that's a bar right there.
Then why should I worry about heir? If I'm an heir to the throne of God, why should I worry about heir? If I'm a child of God, why should I worry about heir? Yes, I am a God. In case, when Kanye said it, what you mean you a God? I just told what did he say? I just told you. Right. Who you think you are? I just told you. God. I'm a God. Right. Lowercase g. Right. I'm aware. The only thing that separates me from God is magnitude. If I pull out a drop from the ocean, that drop in the ocean has every ingredient and element that the larger ocean has. The only difference between the drop and the ocean at large is magnitude. And so I know and I'm fully aware that I'm a God. And if there are any Christians here who need verification of that, just go to John 10:34, and Jesus says, is it not written in your law, I've said ye are gods. I've said ye are gods. And the first 2 words of the Lord's Prayer, everybody who has a Christian upbringing, whether they are in Christianity still or have left, what are the first 2 words of the Lord's Prayer, y'all? What are the first 2 words of the Lord's Prayer?
Our Father.
Our Father.
Yeah.
Hold up, wait a second. Not just my Father.
Right.
Our Father, Ash's Father, all of our fathers. Whoever does the will of the Father is my brother and my sister.
Absolutely.
And so we are all children of God. We've had great examples, but there are no exceptions. And this is really important for us to understand, because if we walk through this world believing that we are not worthy, that we are sinners, that we are the lowest of the low, then we cannot step into the identity and the awareness that abundance is our birthright.
That's a bar. And so now, you dropping a lot of bars, right? You dropping a lot of bars, and I'm hoping they pick it up what you putting down, right? But how do you assure, right? Or how do you work on the impact, right? And so somebody has this book, they buy this book. What should they do? What should they do with the book?
Yeah. So everybody who's here, as soon as the book arrives in the mail, actually, I can't say the book, it's going to be 5 books for most of you that arrive in the mail. When the book arrives in the mail, there's 2 things that I need you to do. The first thing is I need you to identify 4 other people who you're going to go on this journey with. That is why I gave you additional books, so that you can immediately get in the frequency of giving. Many of you already know who you're going to give the book to. You having extra books immediately puts you in the frequency of giving, which starts to stimulate your personal economy right out the gates, because you were giving wealth consciousness. What is more valuable, wealth consciousness or $100 bill? What's more valuable to you in your life, wealth consciousness or $100 bill? These are called dead presidents because they are dead. We are supposed to give cash consciousness. You are the conscious being that gives cash consciousness. We are supposed to resurrect dead presidents. So you get to immediately give somebody something that is worth more than $100 to them in their life. So I want you to identify those people. And then I want you to create a money and manifestation mastermind. A money and manifestation mastermind group. I want each one of you to, with those people, read 1 chapter of the book every single week and meet weekly to discuss the lessons that you've learned. In addition, most of you got the free bonus that I created, which is the Rituals Workbook. As I was writing the book, I realized that in order to anchor these heavenly principles on earth, because that's what we're really here for, we're here to bring heaven, our mental experience of life, onto earth, which is our material experience. I created the Rituals Workbook. And so as you go through the book, there are exercises that prompts in the book that will let you know, go to the Rituals Workbook and do this specific exercise. I want you to do these exercises together as a group and as a mastermind. The problem with personal development, y'all, is that it is personal. The problem with personal development is that it is personal. If you continue to try to do this all alone, you will be playing a mental game of Pong where your thoughts are bouncing off of each other. In order to expand into wealth consciousness, if you are at a level of poverty consciousness or anywhere on that spectrum, you have to tap in to a frequency of somebody who has a higher level of consciousness than you. And this could be in wealth, it could be in food, it could be in love, it can be in your spiritual life. You have to tap into the frequency of someone else. So listen to me. When you all take notes, a note is a musical frequency. So when you are taking notes, you are tapping into the frequency of the person that you are learning from. And so this book is my frequency. And I'm inviting you all to elevate up to my frequency by basically giving you my notes that was 800 pages in a Google Doc. I've tried to simplify it and consolidate it for you to use so that it can be easy for you to implement, so that you can see actual results and manifestations in your life. And in addition to that, I created the Rituals Workbook, right? Rituals, R-I-C-H, not R-I-T, R-I-C-H-U-A-L-S, so that you can anchor all of these principles that I'm teaching, specifically the 10 money commandments. These are the 10 money commandments, right? So that you can anchor them in your life and actually start to see them. I'm teaching you universal laws, okay? I'm teaching you universal laws, and these universal laws are unseen. Hydrogen is 99.999% empty space. What actually governs our universe is not the seen. We've let these 2 eyes deceive us. What actually governs our universe is the unseen. It is the unseen. Hear me on this, y'all. Gravity is a physical law, and you still can't even see it. You all know nobody here is debating gravity or whether it exists. It is a physical law, something that's physical, something that's tangible, right? It is a physical law, and you cannot see it. You can only see the effects of it. And the more aware you are of all these universal laws, like the law of correspondence, like the law of resonance, the more you are aware of them, the more that you can use them to your advantage and not feel like life is working against you, but that it is working for you and on your behalf. If you are not aware of these laws, you will feel like life is working against you. But when you are aware of these laws, just like a lawyer, you can actually use these laws to create. You can figure out which laws transcend other laws. The Wright brothers, they knew that gravity existed. They knew gravity was a law. They found a law that transcended gravity, which was the law of aerodynamics. right? And so when you understand these invisible, unseen laws, you are able to play at a higher level and do things that seem impossible to somebody who only understands the law at this level down here.
I love that. I love that. And so, you know, I know the goal is to impact so many people, but what, you know, they receive the book, they do the mastermind. What's next for the book?
So, a couple things. So I'm thinking about doing a book tour now that the world is opening back up. I'm thinking about doing a book tour. Two cities that are definitely on deck would be ATL and Brooklyn. You know, I spent 10 years in Brooklyn, so I got a lot of family out there. Of course, here in New Orleans, where I live, there's a new bookstore that opened up. So a Black bookstore. So I would probably do something there, and then try to do something at the Black House in East Point out in Atlanta. So I'm hoping that those come into fruition. And then what I would like to do, probably coming soon in the summer, I would like to do a money manifestation mastermind virtually with as many people as possible, so that as we reach the second half of 2021, we can all get together and start manifesting some amazing things together. And so those are some things that come to mind right now in terms of the book, but I'm really eager to see how people receive the book, how they respond to it, and get people's feedback. And as in addition to the money and manifestation masterminds and the rituals workbook. And I'm going to just be observing and listening to you all to make sure that the book has met your needs. And if there's any gaps that you're like, oh, Julian, this part is still hard for me, I'm going to figure out a solution to help you understand that aspect so that you can implement it into your life. So that is my focus. So now that I've gone into this space of output, I'm going to go into a place of listening and observing how the book is taking shape in all of your lives. But again, this is not about being a bestseller. This is about it being the most implemented. And so that's my focus now. It's not just, let me sell as many books as possible. No, that is not the focus. But I want to focus on how do I make sure that all of you who trusted me, who believed in me, who have been following me for quite some time, I want to focus on how to make sure that you are now implementing these principles, because I know that the transformation alone will not, occur just by information alone. It's going to take action. I'm not just here for the transfer of information. I'm here for your transformation. And so that is my focus, because I know that if we just start with all of you who have pre-ordered the book, we just start with you. And let's say I didn't sell any books after today, and we just paused. We just took down the page, didn't sell any more books, right? And I focused on making sure that all of you who have pre-ordered were implementing the books, implementing the principles of the book. That I know would automatically lead to more expansion of it once it unfolds. Once people start to see the demonstration in your own lives, once we start to embrace this identity, is that I am rich and I am righteous. I do not have to choose between the two. Okay, so that is my focus as I've gone through this space of output and giving birth to this book. Now it's a place of observing and listening to see how it is taking shape in all of your lives.
Man, love that. Do we got time for some questions? Let's do some questions.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, if you don't mind, can we do some giveaways too?
Maybe, I'm happy to do some giveaways. I'm happy to do some giveaways. How about this? If the people who asked the bomb questions, that you pick them out on IG, I'll pick them out on Zoom, and whoever asked those questions, we will give them books if they haven't already purchased it.
All right, dope. All
right,
so if you have
start.
Any questions,
you start.
Let's see what questions you guys have.
Oh, I got an announcement to make though.
Talk to us.
And this is for you, Ash.
Yep.
And for your work. You ready for this?
Talk to me.
2 minutes ago, we just hit a 6-figure launch of this
book. Oh, that's dope, man. Congrats. And
congrats to you.
The price is going up now. Anybody in my book program?
It is going up tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is going up tomorrow.
It is.
So right now, everybody, so by 6-figure launch, I mean, we just crossed over $100,000 in book sales. and pre-orders.
And you said that too. And you said that when we first connected.
Oh yeah, I told you. I told you. We can go look at our Google document.
Yeah.
We can go look at our Google document. It's there. It's documented. So this is the power of writing it down and making it plain, and then holding the belief. My belief never wavered. My belief never wavered. And so right now, everybody, you get not one but 5 books and the Rituals Workbook for $100 at moneyandmanifestation.com. That's just for right now. Tomorrow it's likely going to go to 3 Rich and Righteous and 1 Rituals Workbook as of tomorrow. So the book is always going to be $100. It's always going to be $100. And over time, I may choose to add extra books and things of that nature, but it will never be on sale for less than $100. As I was writing it, Ash, people ask me, why did you do that? As I was writing it, Ash, one, I was inspired by Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, right? Who sold his mixtape for $100. But as I was writing it, Ash, I was like, this book is not some $15 Barnes and Noble's book. It's not. This book, to be honest, I would feel comfortable charging $1,000 for it. Yes. But I'm just charging $100 for it right now until the people get it in their hands, and then they confirm that it is way more valuable than $100.
Absolutely.
So that's what it is right now, and so make sure you take advantage of that. It was the pre-order special ended. It was supposed to end yesterday, but we decided to do this release party today. So that is till tonight at midnight. So that's moneyandmanifestation.com. Moneyandmanifestation.com. We are shipping this week, so make sure you grab that. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited because it's a classic. I was part of the process, so I've read it. So I'm looking forward to giving it, because now I know that I'm changing somebody's life. I'm changing somebody's life for generations. And so this is going to be dope. It's going to be dope. All right. So let's pull out some questions.
Zoom. Yeah. And Zoom use Q&A. Zoom use Q&A. I got a quick one that somebody asked. Key Lee said, is the book available on Audible? So it's not there yet. That is actually one of the next things I'm going to do, Ash, is once I'm actually setting up studio time right now to do the audio recording of the book. So that is one of the things that's coming in the future. I know people learn in different ways, and so the audio version of the book is coming. But there's so many images and graphics in the book that I don't know if the audio gonna do it full justice. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna have to listen to the audio while you look at the book, though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's so many images and frameworks that I lay out in the book for each of the money commandments. And so, but I will do it via audio. I know some of you are driving to the corporate plantation. We're trying to get you off that corporate plantation, right? But if this is what you need to listen to while you on that commute, then this is I will make sure that I get that out in that form for you. So that is something coming down the pipeline, Ash.
And all right, so we got Busy. Busy says, how did you settle on your purpose?
How did I settle on my purpose? So great question. So the way I came to my purpose, so my purpose, your purpose evolves. The thread of my purpose has always been actually purpose and freedom. Those two words have just been central to everything that I've done in my life. And so my purpose, if you saw my Instagram, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture 12 years ago of me doing a workshop in the Bay Area. It was called Driving School for Life. And it was based on my first book, The 8 Cylinder of Success. And so my original purpose, the way I would language it, was helping people get clarity on their purpose. And then that evolved into helping people identify career paths that were in alignment with their purpose. And then that evolved into side hustles and entrepreneurship. And then that evolved into helping people build teams, because success is not a matter of time, it's actually a matter of team. And then it evolved into real estate. As my real estate portfolio started expanding, that's how I started teaching through the multifamily movement. But when you look at all those things, my purpose has always been, the thread of my purpose has always been purpose and freedom. Purpose and freedom. So for me, real estate is not just about financial freedom so that I could kick my feet up on the beach. That is not what freedom looks like for me. That's okay if it looks like that for you. For me, real estate has freed me financially so that I can walk in my purpose without fear. And so this is why it's so important for me to help people get this single asset, to get them to rent and mortgage freedom so that they can walk in their purpose. Because as I was helping people find their purpose, the biggest blockage for them was actually money. And so the thread for me has always been purpose and freedom. And the way I connect with my creator is that I meditate consistently. I journal, and I just ask, dear God, how do you want me to be used today? How do you want to be you? How do you want me to be used today? One of the easiest prayers that you can use, and I teach this in the book, is be me, God.
Mm.
I teach the prayer pyramid in the book, and the highest form of prayer is really 3 words. It is be me, God. When you say be me, God, you are realizing that it is your identity that has to change, that you need to release control, because many of us have been trying to control our lives and trying to dictate where it goes. But if you just submit to your higher power and you let God take over your life, again, God, however you define it and whatever you call it, you let God take over your life. My experience has been that you will have fulfillment that is beyond your understanding. You will have peace that is beyond your understanding. And so that prayer is something that I mumble to myself, that I hum to myself. Is just, God, when I don't know, when I don't feel I know something, I just say, be me, God. Go ahead, take the wheel, take over. And I've never been misled. I have never been misled. When I put my hands up, I surrender and I say, go ahead, be me, God. Because that's what God wants to do. God wants to express itself through us. We are kind of like God's hands on earth. We are its servants. And so you want to make sure that you're positioned in your highest space of service. Who was that? Who was that, Ash, that you?
That was busy. B_I_Z_Z_Y.
All right. So busy, go ahead and DM me your mailing address. I got you down. Go ahead and DM me. A great question. DM me your mailing address, and we will get you a copy of the book in this first shipment. Okay.
All right. Next one. So Melissa .diva77. So MELYSSA.DIVA 77 says, with a servant godly mindset, how do you grow in discipline?
With the servant godly mindset, how do you grow in discipline? How do you grow in discipline? The easiest word to give you is fasting. It's fasting. It's cutting away all the things that are not important. For many people, that's starting with TV. Then it may go into cutting away friends, or what you used to call friends, and based on how you used to define what a friend was, right? And then it may be cutting away going to certain places. It may be cutting away certain types of music. It may be cutting away certain types of food. It may be cutting away certain types of habits, certain types of websites, right? Unfollowing certain types of people on Instagram. When you get these distractions out of your life and you create a clearing for yourself to hear God, because a lot of the things that are out there, we got headphones on, we got things going to our ears, we got things going into our eyes, we got things going into our mouth, right? We got all these things trying to come into us. But what we're actually meant to do is, first and foremost, anything that you are giving attention to, your attention is your most valuable asset. Okay, it is your most valuable asset. This is why advertisers pay for it, because they're paying for your attention. And whatever you were paying attention to in that moment is your God. Whatever you were paying attention to in the moment is your God. If you have kids, right? If you have kids and they're home after school and you're scrolling through Instagram, and I'm guilty of this too. Actually, I don't like to use the word guilt, but I've caught myself in these moments. If you're scrolling on Instagram and your kid is just sitting on the floor and you claim to be a loving parent, right? Instagram or whatever you're watching on Instagram is your God in that moment. It is more important to you, whether you may say, I'm a family person. You are valuing in that moment whatever is on your phone more than who you say you love. Okay? So I say that to say we have to be careful what we've allowed to be important to us. Because if you look at the word important, what is the prefix of the word important? It is import. Most of what we believe is important has been imported into us or programmed into us by other people.
Wow.
And so I challenge you, and in the deprogramming, in the chapter about how to reprogram your mind, I challenge you to question everything that you think is important to you. The real thing that matters in terms of why you were here on this planet is what are you going to export into the world? What is going to come from inside of you out into the world? Not what's important to you based on what other people have programmed and told you, from your religion to your values, etc. Most of that stuff is imported by the time you were 7 years old. I'm challenging you to question it all. Question it all. When Jesus said, I've come to, I'm going to tear down the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, he wasn't talking about the temple. This temple was built, it took 45 years to build this temple. You think he was talking about the physical temple? Right. No. I'm tearing this down.
Absolutely.
I'm wiping it clear.
Yeah.
I'm wiping it clear and I'm going to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Oh, remind yourself, nobody built like you. You designed yourself. Most of us have not designed ourselves.
Yes.
Other people have designed us and then we call it ourselves, but it's not really you. So I invite you to consider, what am I going to export into the world? What am I going to bring forth into the world? So that's, and when you get aligned with that and you get clear on that, the discipline comes naturally. It's not something that you have to force yourself to do, because when you're forcing yourself to do something, you're resisting. But when you were just being who you are, there is no resistance. When you were being who you were truly meant to be, there is no resistance. You just naturally flow, just like water. Water doesn't resist anything. It just flows the natural course that is meant for it to do, to get to where it's meant to get to.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Great question. Great question. All right. Sean Idom, so SHAWNIDOM, says, what law impacted your life the most?
It's definitely the law of resonance, which is really that's the real name for the real name for the law of attraction. It's actually the law of resonance. Attraction just sounded better, but if you take two tuning forks, right, that have the same frequency, if you tap one, the other one will start to vibrate and agitate and excite, right? And so, and I encourage you to go look this up on YouTube. Go look at two tuning forks. You've probably seen the experiment in junior high school. Did you have that kind of experiment in junior high school, Ash, where you saw that?
No, not that I
physics
remember.
Class. So
yeah,
two
I was
tuning
in
forks,
the
same
city.
frequency. If you hit one, the other one at the same frequency will agitate. This is what the law of attraction does. When you elevate to a certain frequency, you start to agitate and excite other things that are at that same exact frequency in your life. And they start to show up and start to move and start to come into physical form and manifestation. And so when I understood that whatever thoughts that I would frequent became my frequency, then I would hold that frequency as long as possible. The reason many of us have difficulty manifesting is because we can't hold the frequency long enough. I don't want to use the word can't. I'm very particular with my language. We don't hold the frequency long enough because we don't believe. When you believe in something, there is no timeline, y'all. When you believe in something, there is no timeline. It took Elon Musk 20 years to get here. His belief was unwavering. But a lot of us have timelines like, oh, if this don't pop off by June, then I'm done. The moment you put a timeline on something, you've actually killed it. You've actually killed it. Because you're predetermining that if it doesn't happen by this date, then I give up. But belief doesn't have a timeline. You have to believe it in order to see it. And what do I mean by that? In the dating context, if you believe that all men are dogs, a prince could walk up to you and you would not recognize him because you don't believe that he exists. If you believe that all women are witches and the perfect woman walks up to you, you will not even recognize her because you don't perceive that she exists. You don't believe that she exists. So you actually have to believe it in order to see it. So this is how I think about it, and that's how I move. And it's really about holding the frequency long enough for it to manifest. And that's what the law of resonance taught me, is that if I hold the frequency and the vibration of that which I want right now, for as long as I possibly can, I'll start to see manifestations and breadcrumbs of it actually coming here and now. So for a lot of people who want more money and you want wealth in your life, You want wealth in your life right now, but your external experience does not reflect that. Here's what I challenge you to do. Ask yourself, what is something that I can do right now that will tap me into the frequency of wealth? So here's an example. If you are experiencing poverty in your life right now, okay, and you are, let's say, eating at a fast food restaurant or just any restaurant, one way that you can tap into the frequency of wealth right now, despite your external circumstance, is go ahead and tip like 20 or 30%. And it can be 20 or 30% on a Happy Meal. I don't care. Tip on that, because tipping actually shows and demonstrates that I am abundant and that I have more than enough. It puts you in that frequency. If you are getting a stimulus check right now, when you get that stimulus check, I want you to see it come through the mailbox, and I want you to tap into that frequency just momentarily and say, wow, I just had money come to me without working for it. This is a beautiful feeling. Now, you can't stay in that frequency forever with a stimulus check, because the stimulus check is receiving without giving. So that won't last forever. But you can take that little temporary thing, right? That little temporary thing, kind of just like a defibrillator. Some people need a defibrillator to get their heart going again, or you might need a jump. Sometimes you need something external to activate you again. So take your stimulus check and just feel the vibration of getting paid without trading time for money. And just feel that for just a moment. That's how you tap into that frequency right here and right now, just so you know what it feels like. And if you continue to be able to tap into that frequency through your imagination, and you can start to hold that long enough over a period of time, you will start to see more abundance come into your life. It may not be millions of dollars immediately or anything like that, but you will start to, you will stay in a mindset of abundance, and you'll start to see possibilities where you couldn't see possibilities before.
Big bar, big bar. Let's see. We got, how do you overcome mountains and barriers along your journey? So you got MLLE Karen,
MLLE Karen.
Yeah.
All right.
So MLLEKAREN_N.
Yeah. So this is a great question. And for those of you who Ash is picking, go ahead and DM me, and we'll get you books in the mail in this first shipment. So how do I overcome challenges in my life? First and foremost, I don't perceive them as challenges. Here's how I think about challenges. Okay. I believe, okay, this is my belief. It works for me. You can try it on. If it doesn't work for you, that's cool. My belief is that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And this is a virtual reality experience. And I chose it. Not only did I choose it, I created it. My daughter has a game on her Wii called Wipeout. And in Wipeout, you can actually create the course that you're about to go run on. So I believe, and this is the belief that holds me, is that I created this obstacle course called life from the spiritual realm. And that when I came through my mother's womb, that I would forget that I'm the one who created these obstacle courses. So I only made the mountains as high as I needed to make them in order to remember how strong I am. I only made the pitfalls as deep as I needed to make them to remember how creative I am in order to get out of those situations. So now when I approach obstacles or problems or challenges in my life, I don't perceive them as somebody outside of me is trying to oppress me or hold me down. I perceive them as I must have placed this opportunity here to remind myself of who I actually am. So going back to what I said earlier, for those of you who might have chosen poverty as your experience, remember, you were here and you started in an impoverished situation to remind yourself how wealthy you truly are. That is what I try on. That's the belief that gets me through the challenges in my life. Whether it is true or false, I don't know, but it has worked for me to help me see obstacles, challenges, and problems as opportunities for growth.
Man, powerful. All right, let's see. I like this one. This is a good one. The Black Goddess. DA Black Goddess says, how does one find themselves without feeling as if they are disappointing those around them? Oh, that's a good one.
Disappointing.
How does one find themselves without feeling as if they are disappointing those?
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I get the question now.
Yeah.
So, sister, obviously your screen name dictates, says a lot about you in terms of how you perceive yourself. And we all go through programming. There's 4 phases of reprogramming yourself. First is recognizing that you've been programmed. Many people never even recognize that they've been programmed. They are adult kids. They are adult kids. Their mind has been programmed by the previous generation, but they are in the physical body of an adult. The second thing we have to do is deprogram, okay? Which means wipe the slate clean. Like one of the programs that we had was the food pyramid. The food pyramid was a program that was taught to us in elementary school. Eat this much of this and each much. The food pyramid is actually not healthy. It is not healthy, but it is a program. And so this is opportunity in every area of your life to wipe all programs clean, all the ones that you're aware of. The most dangerous programs are actually the ones that you're not aware of. From there, we have to reprogram, okay? So we look at every single program, we say, does that program still serve me or does it not serve me? And then we put it back. We actually literally make up our mind. And then in spaces where there is no program that you don't want to put it back in, you have to find a new program or write the code yourself.
Not to cut you off, brother, because you're frozen on my side.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if somebody else said frozen. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yep. Pause due to poor connection, reconnecting. Uh-oh.
This is good.
Come on, internet.
We need that.
We need that. Come on, internet. Pause due to poor connection.
Are you on Wi-Fi? I usually take my Wi-Fi off.
Reconnecting. I am on Wi-Fi. Go off.
Go off. Yeah, use your regular data. Yeah, sometimes.
All right, cool. That worked.
Yeah,
that worked. Okay. So then there is reprogramming.
There we go.
There we go. There's a reprogramming. And then from there, once you reprogram your mind, then you run the program and see if you actually getting out of life what you believed, right? So for the Black Goddess, I need to let everybody know that every generation has programming and you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins or else they'll burst. And so what that means is that you cannot pour these new beliefs that you have into old wineskins, which is the old way of thinking. All right. But here's the issue is that every single program that exists.
Oh, wait, they say your volume is out now.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, the devil is alive.
Yo. We can't hear him.
Yeah, they said, mute. We can't hear him.
All right. We can't hear him. That's crazy. Tell them I'm gonna have to restart. That's the fastest solution besides trying to figure it out. Tell them.
All right, so look, we're about to restart. We're about to leave and come back. Just so we can get the sound back.
All right, doing that now.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yep.
Dang, yo, that's...
save this though. Oh, I was gonna say save it. You saved it.
Right? Share. I can share it. Let me share it before it goes.
Yeah. Share it. Yeah, because you was dropping too many bars, so you don't want to miss that one.
Oh yeah.
So share that.
Recording my screen.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to post live. Boom. All right. Checking connection. Black Goddess, we coming to you.
We coming back.
We coming back. We live again. Ash, I'll wait for you. You can see me.
There we go.
I'm glad we did dual because we got like 250 people in each place, but we got these technical difficulties, but it's all good. We figuring out, we making it through. All right, cool. So we're gonna wrap up soon. Folks coming back. I think we're gonna get everybody back. All right, cool. So Black Goddess, I want you to know that every program in the entire world seeks to perpetuate itself. So you think your parents, whether they're breathing over your shoulder, whether it's your old friendships, old relationships, every single program seeks to perpetuate itself. So when it sees a program, that may make it not useful anymore or take it out the game, it will do whatever it can to disrupt that new program. And so you just have to accept the reality that everybody is not going to believe what you believe. And as the scripture says, it is done unto you as you believe, not as anyone else believes for you. Nobody else's belief can actually affect you unless you believe what they're telling you. So that's just part of the way the matrix works, is that old programs, they will seek to hold on as long as they possibly can when they see a new program coming. And so when you, the easiest thing for me, sister, has been to not try to get other people to believe or think what I think. In fact, I don't want any of you to even believe me. I don't want any of you to believe me. I'm not trying to convert any of you. I want you to explore my beliefs, to test them for yourselves and see if they work for you. If they don't work for you, it's all good. But I'm not trying to convert you, right? I'm not trying to get you to, I want you to think for yourself. I want you to believe what you believe, not what anybody else believes. There's one thing that you should never outsource. Outsource your gardener, outsource your house cleaning, outsource who styles your clothes, outsource everything outsource your mechanic on your car, your oil changes, outsource all of that. Please never outsource your spiritual connection to God and your own thinking. Please do not outsource those two things. Outsource everything else so that you can focus on your spiritual connection to God and your own thinking. But do not outsource anything else beyond that. See, we outsource our spirituality to a minister. You should be in your daily rituals and your daily study just like the minister. Don't let somebody else tell you their version of that spiritual text or that belief system. You go directly to the Mother, Father, God. I'm the oldest sibling in my family, okay? And guess what? My little brothers do not have to come through me to talk to my father. They can go to my father whenever they want to. They can go to my father whenever they want to without going through me. So go directly to your source. However you define that, whatever you call it, go directly to your source. You do not need a mediator to talk to your Mother, Father, God.
That's good. That's good.
You take three more?
All right, three more. So I prefer TAJ. TAJ says recently laid off due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Advice on how to tap into the frequency.
If you've been laid off, the number one thing you have to do in this moment when you might want to contract is to serve. You just go seek to be of service in any way that you can. It does not have to be directly for money at this moment in time, but if you stay in the frequency of serving, you go sweep somebody's front yard, an old person's front yard who can't do it right now. You see somebody struggling with their groceries, just try to stay in the frequency of service. And guess what? Opportunities to serve that are paid will start showing up for you. In fact, somebody might see you serving in that way and bring that opportunity to you. In fact, they won't see you. They will sense a vibrational match of somebody who is still in the frequency of service, not someone who is, down on themselves because they got laid off, etc. You did not get fired. You got freed.
Talk to him.
You did not get fired. You got freed. Did you love that job? It's one thing if you got fired from a job that you love. And sometimes God will take what you thought was meant for you and was the end of the game and move you on. And then only once you get over yourself, you realize that there was something better for you, but you didn't get fired. You got freed. You didn't get fired. You got freed. And so take this as an opportunity to reevaluate, to press reset and start over again. But you have to stay in the frequency of service. Do not get down on yourself. It is not a reflection of who you are or your value in the world. In fact, your bank account is not a reflection of your value in the world. In God's eyes, if you remember the story of the prodigal son, in God's eyes, the Mother, Father, God is always waiting for the son or the daughter to come home. And so for you, this may be an opportunity for you to come home and to actually see yourself in a brand new way now that you've let this other space that was taking 40 hours of your waking hours away from you to work on somebody else's mission, somebody else's purpose, to now go within and focus on yours. So see this as time freedom right now. See this as time freedom. I know you still have a financial obligation that you have to meet, and there are some services there, but in this space, if you truly believe, you will see God show up. You will see that all your needs get met. Because in reality, we as human beings don't have that many needs. We created all these other needs, or marketers created all these other needs. All we need is oxygen. water, and food, and warmth. We don't need that much. And so use this time as a time to prune. When you're pruning, you prune not to cut away and be less than, you prune to prepare for growth. And so see this as an opportunity to prepare yourself for growth into this next phase and evolution of who you actually are.
Love that. Hey, Zoom's asking about questions, but I don't see any questions.
Oh, okay. I got questions.
Don't forget about us.
Don't forget about Zoom. Ashley asked this. She said, Ash Cash, what's your biggest takeaway from the book?
Oh, big bars.
So, she threw it back at you.
Look. So my biggest takeaway from the book is that heaven ain't in the sky, right? You know, on earth as it is in heaven.
Facts.
And so for me, going through the book and reading it and really getting to a space of understanding that wealth consciousness is that I don't like I grew up Christian, right? And so I grew up Christian, and it was sacrifice. It was like, I'm gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna make sure that I do good, right? I'm righteous, but I could be poor and righteous, and I get my benefit when I get to heaven.
Your pie in the sky.
My pie in the sky. God's gonna be, God's gonna be good to me. And so the biggest thing I realized is that I gotta have heaven on earth.
Facts.
And honestly, the reason why that segment where the chapter where you said being poor, right? Being poor is a sin, but poverty is not. That resonated with me the most because I could do more good being rich.
Facts.
Right. And so I think about my real life, right? I think about my real life where I've had a wealth consciousness and abundance, and then I had limited abundance. I wasn't aware of my abundance. In both cases, I was more helpful. I was better demonstrating God with abundance than without.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, just in chat, how many of you would do more good if you had more money? How many of you would be able to do more good if you had more money? Please just let us know in chat. Just let us know. How many of you would be able to do more good with more money? So then guess what? We want you to have more money.
That's it.
Period. But keep in mind, the way the rich and righteous think about money, we don't keep money, we don't hoard money in a savings account. Anybody who saves money beyond their emergency fund is actually financially insecure, not financially secure. Saving money beyond your emergency fund is financial insecurity, not financial security. Because basically you're saying that I put this $50,000 in a savings account that is only growing at 0.03% interest. You're basically saying that you can't turn $100 into $100.03 over the course of 365 days. We've been programmed like this, so it's not your fault, okay? But scripture said it, do not give your pearls to swine. What are your pearls, Ash? That's your money.
That's your money, yep.
Swine is the bank. When you were little, where did they tell you to put your money, y'all?
In the piggy bank.
They told you to put your money. They programmed you to put your money in a piggy bank. Yet scripture says, do not give your pearls to swine.
Big bar.
You are supposed to circulate this stored energy. You were supposed to give dead presidents life. You're supposed to resurrect dead presidents. You were supposed to give cash consciousness by circulating it towards ideals, ideas, individuals, and investments you believe are doing good or God's work. You cannot clutch on to money. You cannot clutch on to money. Your dead presidents are supposed to go out and work for you every single day. You were supposed to be a good steward, not a good saver. You were supposed to be a good steward, not a good saver of money. You cannot save your way to wealth. The only way for it to grow is to actually invest it and to circulate it. And when you circulate something, to circulate means to return to point of origin. So when you lease a car, y'all, when you lease a car, the car company still owns the car.
Right.
But it is not in their possession. So when you release money, you still own the money, but it is not in your possession at the moment. And so guess what I do with all of my dead presidents? I constantly release them and release them and release them over and over and over and over. And they keep coming back to me and back to me and back to me and back to me. I look at this money, I look at my money and I say, in God I trust, I release it. And then it comes back to me and I say, in God I trust it.
Oh my God. That's a bar. I don't know if y'all caught that. Release. You're supposed to release money.
Over and over, like a rental car.
Yo.
You're supposed to release money over and over and over again, like a rental car.
Sheesh. Yo.
Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the entire world. Did y'all know that cash is 75% cotton? Cash is 75% cotton. You realize that most people out here still picking cotton on a daily basis? Literally, you go out and get bales of cotton for your master, which is your boss. And every 2 weeks, April 1st, many of you are getting paid a little ration. And no matter how many bales you collected for your master, you still got paid the exact same. Modern day slavery, it is mental and it is monetary. It just has morphed. And we got to break free. We got to break free from the time for money exchange. We have to break free from that. Rich and righteous, we do not work for money. Money works for us.
Big bar.
Do we still work? Yes, we still work. So this is not some, the secret, I just create a nice little beautiful vision board and I don't do anything and it just comes to me. This is not on that. There's a spectrum of hustle hard, and then there's this spectrum of just put it on the vision board and attract it. We somewhere here in the middle. We do a little bit of both. Now, the 10 money commandments, these are the 10 ways to make money come to you beyond just working for it. I already know you know how to work hard. Okay. Now, if we combine that with these other 10 commandments, money commandments, you will see more abundance and more manifestations in your life. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Wow. Big bars. How we gonna do one more or
one more from Zoom? Because one more from Zoom. Let me see.
Zoom was feeling a kind of way.
I know. It's feeling a kind of way. But a lot of the questions are similar, honestly.
Yeah.
Good question by Quandi. Make sure you DM me with your address. I have all the names of people for the giveaways. Quandi said, we know that the universe compensates us based on our conscious activity. How did you maintain your conscious vibration despite appearances that didn't seem aligned with your vision? That's a great question. Great question. So, Quandi, I said it before, you have to fast from the external, information. Half the people in the United States got COVID. I ain't in that half. Like even though COVID did not affect, it affected equivalent to the number of people who got the flu, they made it seem like it was bigger than it actually was. So I don't allow these external inputs to come in, right? I don't allow these external inputs to come in. So you have to carefully monitor. So Quandi, you are a guard inner of your mind.
Oh, guard inner. If you know, gardener of your mind. Oh man, what are you playing?
You are a guard inner of your mind. You have to be on guard of your inner. You have to protect your mind. The Garden of Eden is up here. This is where heaven is. This is where purity is. This is where your true self is. And your role in the manifestation process is to be a guard inner. And the 4 steps to that I talk about in the book, okay, is PWWP. As the gardener, you were supposed to plant the seed, as you were supposed to take the conscious seed, the seed from the conscious mind, and you're supposed to plant it in the subconscious. Okay, that is your first role. Okay, so my to-do list looks different now based on where I'm at in this understanding of money and manifestation in my mind. I consciously plant the seed in the subconscious mind. From there, I have to water it, meaning that I have to continuously give it nutrients and attention. Okay, you can't just plant the seed and just walk away. You have to give it attention, but it's not worried attention. It's not anxiousness. Okay, it's just good energy and attention. From there, you have to weed out any negative thoughts that contradict what it is that you say you believe. People telling you your business won't work, you have to weed those out. You have to learn how to let those roll off your shoulder and just keep it going, because their belief has no impact on your ability to manifest. The only person whose belief matters is your own. And these people are actually characters in your life that you created, so you could blame somebody for why your business didn't manifest or your idea didn't manifest. It wasn't that your mom didn't believe in you, it's that your belief wasn't stronger than your mom's disbelief. Okay, and then once you weed, you must prune. As whatever it is that you're manifesting is growing, your responsibility is to prune to facilitate more growth. So be a gardener of your mind. Be very mindful. This is what mindfulness means. Be very cognizant of the inputs and literally ignore things that are contradictory to what it is that you say you want in your life.
So if you're sick, don't focus on sickness. Focus.
You're gonna affirm. You're gonna affirm. Everybody calls you. Oh, I'm so sick. What?
Right.
Don't do that. What you know the one that I hate the most? The struggle is real.
No, it ain't. It's real if you say it's real.
You gotta be very mindful of your tongue. And what is your tongue doing? Your tongue, one, there's life and death in the power of your tongue, but your tongue is revealing what you actually believe. It is revealing what you actually believe. You call it fixed income, I call it mixed income. Right? You say it's called disposable income, I call it duplicatable income.
Big bars.
I'm very careful with my language because I know that my word shall never return void. So if you observe, and that's one of the chapters, so the 10 commandments, the 10 money commandments is one, how you measure money, okay? Then it's how you feel about money. Then it's how you think about money. Then it's how you ask about money. Then this is how you speak about money. Then it's how you hold money. Then it's how you use money. Then it's how you attract money. Then it's how you manifest money. And then it's how you enjoy money. These are the 10 money commandments. That's what each of the core chapters are in the book. And as you get more in tune with the things that I teach in this book, you will see that money comes into your life a lot more easily, a lot more frequently, and a lot more abundantly.
Love it.
Man, brother, I appreciate you so much.
Nah, likewise, brother, because it was it was a journey for me. You know what I'm saying? It was an enjoyable journey to be able to help the impact, right? Because the one thing that I realized was that we aligned in messaging, and so knowing that you have this message, I want this message out as bad as you want this message out. It's like let's just work together. And Fat Shot, look, Inside the Vault. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna hear this first. Don't tell nobody else. Well, we got a special episode dropping with Julian Gordon, Inside the Vault.
April 3rd, Thursday in April.
Yeah, April 22nd, I want to say.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. So we got make sure y'all check out the so April 22nd. So it's the the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd exclusive. I promise you, dropping bars.
Right. So go to YouTube and type Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. David Banner interview just came out tonight. So go ahead and watch that. Hit that like. Don't skip the ads. Let that ad money run. We circulating money out here. We circulating out here.
Let it run. Run it up.
So with that, I wanted to, I was going to read the closing of the book for you, but it's a little lengthy. So I just want to close with some core points that I want you to take away, whether you become part of this movement or not. I want to share some things with you. First and foremost, I want you to recognize that you are a child of God. And as a child of God, abundance is your birthright. Wealth consciousness is when you have the ability to relate to money in the same way that you relate to oxygen. There is no worry about it. In fact, you don't even think about it. You just expect it to be part of your experience. We also know that in order for it to come to be, that we must become it. So we don't focus just on doing and having, we focus on the being. We focus on the identity shift first. And then we know that once our identity shifts, then our external experience has to align with our internal identity. So these are different approaches to how to achieve wealth. When you then add on financial literacy and all these other wealth strategies on top of that, you will see that those strategies are now planted in a fertile subconscious mind, and they take deeper root, and that you will see manifestations through the various avenues that you choose to invest in. I also encourage you to identify what are the 3 asset classes that you are going to use to create your wealth. Okay. Is it going to be stocks? Is it going to be real estate? Is it going to be trucking? Is it going to be, I saw a shout out to Neo. Is it going to be event spaces? Is it going to be digital products? You need to identify what are going to be the top 3. A lot of you are trying to diversify and do all these things at once. You have to find your breadwinner first. And then from there, you have offshoots. If Jay-Z tried to create Rockefeller, Rockaware, and Armadale all at the same time, he would have failed. But he knew that his core was Rockefeller, and then off of that came Rockaware, and off of that came the other business ventures. So identify what is your go-to, what is your primary first, and then go from there. And I want everybody to know that you are attractive. You are attractive. Money is just stored energy, and it responds to your emotions. And you are attractive. I don't care what you feel you look like in the mirror, energetically, you are attractive. And you have to monitor your thoughts and your vibrations, because they are actually shaping your reality. Just like the tuning fork that I showed you earlier, when something is resonating at a certain frequency, it will start to excite things that are at the same exact frequency. So if your life isn't shaping up or looking like what you want to manifest, then don't question the outside, question the inside. A lot of us, when we are playing this game called life, this virtual reality experience, we try to slash the screen, the movie screen, okay? You try to slash the movie screen and throw popcorn, because what you're seeing as your experience through these 2 eyes is not reflecting what you want. You will never succeed slashing the movie screen, because guess what? You have to go up into the projector, which is your mind, and change the film there. When you change the film in the projector, what gets projected on the movie screen of your life will start to change. And you are the director, and you are the main character in your own experience, and you get to choose that, and you get to create that, and your external environment and your external circumstances do not dictate who you are. You are here to reveal who you are. You are here to bring heaven on earth. Heaven is your mental experience of life, and earth is your material experience. And you are here to make the 2 one. The kingdom of heaven is in your midst. It is right here and right now on earth as it is in heaven. This is why we are here. And this is what this whole experience is about. And money is just a tool. It is stored energy that we can use to accelerate that process. And it is time for those of us who believe that we are righteous to now become rich, so that we can accelerate this process and literally change the way the world operates by changing the way all of us relate to money forever.
Social media, mic drop.
Love y'all. I can't wait to get this book in your hands, in your head, and most importantly, your heart. Is coming. Shoot some photos of it arriving when it gets there on Instagram. Let me know that it's getting to your doorstep, and start your money and manifestation mastermind groups as soon as you can. Let the people you know or you're going to give the books to, let them know it's coming. Let's set up a meeting time mid-April, and let's get it going. It starts right here. You are all the early adopters. You jumped on board before you jumped on at the ground floor. And you're going to see this rise to the top. I believe that this book has the power to change the world. And I'm so glad that you were getting one of the first editions of it.
brother, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta breathe that in. You gotta breathe that
World
in.
consciousness.
Yeah. And I'm excited for everybody to get it. So make sure go to moneyandmanifestation.com, get your copy, moneyandmanifestation.com.
Yep.
I promise you, this is going to change your life. Promise you.
100%. All right, y'all. I'm gonna type it in on Instagram real quick. We had to start over. Instagram, thank you for your patience tonight. I don't know what was going on with the technology, but the gods prevailed, and so we are still here. Made it happen. Literally, we had over 500 people here tonight, which is absolutely amazing. It says that this conversation is real, that people want this in their life, and so we're excited to give it to you. Ash, I appreciate you and the wife. Go spend some quality time with her. Yes. Everybody, let us know when it hits your doorstep, and we will talk to you soon, okay?
Peace, y'all.
Peace.